And welcome in. Podcast, the TK pod, if you will. Said shorter episode last week, I think went for like 15 minutes. Today, I really don't know if I could even make it 10 minutes. That's a lie. It'll go over 10 minutes. I'll find a way. If you're going to click on something, I don't want you to just click on it for 7 minutes, be like, what am I doing? Wasting my time. So we'll try to put something together here. I don't have a lot this week, though. I will say you guys probably have noticed over the last 5 weeks, 5 podcasts at least, that there's been no intro music. Like, it just cuts in and I'm like, "Hey, we're back with the TK pod." The reason for that is s some way, somehow in my, uh, my podcast editing software, the intro file, the intro music where it's like, "Hey, welcome, this is the TK pod, here's what it's about, let's have a day," all that stuff, the pre-record. That file got, like, corrupted or, something. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but something got messed up with it to where when I load that in, it crashes the whole like, that specific file will crash the entire program. Like, it'll just control alt delete, cancel out the application, and I can't get anything to load when I try to load that. So I've just been loading the file in and editing this audio piece, on itself, no music, no intro. So I'm gonna have to get that, figured out when I have the time. Um So we'll eventually do that for those that are love the intro music and stuff. But we're back again. A week ago, I bashed my knee into the box. That was fun. I reopened it today doing power cleans, blood running down my leg. That was fun, but we're all good. Training is going well. I did not have like a terribly horrible day training yesterday like I did last week, last week on Tuesday. So these are just things we're finding our flow in the world of semifinals prep. I'm happy that semifinals prep is as long as it is, meaning no longer than I guess like 6 or 7 weeks from the time we finish the open to the time we'll do the semifinals. Um, as we speak today at 10:47 a.m. on April the 9th, I am 3 weeks and a day um from the first day of online semifinals. And really what that means is I'm like 2-ish weeks, 2.5 weeks away from tapering. That's gonna feel nice. When I actually formulate it like that in my brain, it doesn't feel that bad. Like the grind that we're going through right now doesn't feel all that bad. And honestly, it makes it feel like we don't have a lot of time left. We really don't to, squeeze out the fitness. Um, it's crazy. You get older, you have a kid, another kid on the way, you have career, trying to make an income, all this stuff, live your adult life. The days are just they just fly by. I come back every week and I'm like, all right, I'm already doing another TK pod. And every time I do a TK pod, that's another 7 days worth of training that's gone. Another 7 days worth of whatever that I do in my day to day that's gone. Before you know it, I'm going to be previewing I'll be previewing the semi weekend. I'm going to do the semi weekend. That following Wednesday, you're going to hear about it. You'll know exactly where I placed, how it went, and that'll be gone, and we'll be into the off season because your boy ain't making the games. But we're having fun doing it. We're again, like we mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, we're just trying to take advantage of the opportunity. You never know when injuries might happen. You never know what life's going to throw at you. You only have the current season you're in. This could be, for all I know, the last competitive CrossFit season I ever do. I hope it's not. I hope this happens for a long time right now with my current motivations and desires, but this could be it. This could be my only opportunity ever. So we want to make the most of it. And I think we will. It's been fun to watch the last couple of weekends. Let's see, it was, or really just this past weekend was the first semifinal, the Mayhem Classic, which is really just like a mini CrossFit Games. Like the field is so stacked. It's the top of the top. I got 820th in the world. The Mayhem Classic, the Syndicate Crown, those are the two on the east side. The NorCal Classic and the Fittest Experience are the two on the west side in the American regions. All of those are inviting, your top 20, 30, 40 athletes on each side. And I believe in America, I was like 310th. So I'm not, it seems close, like, oh, top 100-ish go to those things. I was 310th. That seems really close. It's not as close as you might think. The gap there is decently wide. And if I were to go to one of these, I wouldn't get utterly embarrassed, but I would not be in any kind of contention. There was a guy, sort of a funny little thing going on in the CrossFit community. If you're real deep right now, there's a guy um, who supposedly got fifth or top 10 in the World Wide Open. Uh, the Open for I think many of these competitions is what they're using to then invite people to the semifinal, right? So he gets an invite to these two semis, the Mayhem Classic that happened in Tennessee this past weekend, the Syndicate Crown, which I believe also happens in Tennessee in about a month and a half, at the end of May. He's got an invite to both of these. Last weekend at the Mayhem Classic, he got last out of 20 in all 5 workouts. Um, and I don't believe he was even remotely close to like 19th. Like the next best person, the 19th place finisher out of every workout, he wasn't even close. He wasn't even challenging them. He got time capped in 3 of the workouts. Almost got time capped on the last workout, which was 30 calories on the bike, 30 bar muscle ups, 30 calories on the bike. It was a 9-minute time cap. There's like plenty of just okay to good like affiliate athletes you could find across the country that could finish in that amount of time. He barely finished, and then he did like, relative to your average person, he did okay on the snatch event. I think he got like 7 or 8 minutes on the heavy Isabel, like 225 for um for 30 reps, but still 3 minutes behind the second to last. Like, so this guy is a total fraud. I would go in and I would be able to beat him. I might catch a couple like 17ths or 18ths on an event or two. Um, but the gap there to those guys is just crazy big. So nonetheless, here we are. We're gonna do the online semis and we're gonna be fine. Um, as far as training goes, that's really about it. That's all I have to say. A couple random things. I knew I'd be able to make this last over 10 minutes just talking shit about somebody. I haven't had coffee in the last 2 weeks. Our coffee machine, our little Nespresso broke down, and I think we probably have to get a new one. And I had been drinking like a little latte, a little home brewed latte every morning with some espresso in it. Uh, by no means am I like addicted to caffeine. I didn't experience like any withdrawal, but like it's more of like the routine of like having something to sip on. I think it's like the thing where when people try and quit cigarettes, a lot of the addiction, addic, uh, pause. Uh, a lot of the addiction is simply having something to, like it's like a tactile thing, like something to put in your mouth. It's why gum, like nicotine gum works so well is because like they can chew and it's something like physical that they can feel as well as the nicotine boost that they get. Um, I think it's the same thing with like coffee in the mornings is the routine and kind of any sort of dependence I had on that was more routine based. Like I'd go to get in the car to take the kiddo to daycare and I'd be like, all right, got to get my cup to put in my cup holder. So I just have something to sip on, right? And I could replace that with just water. I haven't. But that's been interesting, a couple hundred calories in a latte that I cut out in the morning. And then sort of with that, also realized that I really haven't tracked food, like MyFitnessPal tracking. I've been doing MyFitnessPal off and on since 2015, so for basically 10 years. Um, I have not tracked food since October 24th, right before I hit record on this podcast. I went back and found the exact day that I stopped tracking. And there was no conscious effort for that. I think it was more of I didn't know if it was really serving a purpose at the time that I stopped. There was no purpose to it. I had been doing it for a while. The goals hadn't changed. I am, after 10 years of tracking, very, very keyed in intuitively to how many calories are in certain things. I eat the same goddamn foods I've been eating for the last 7 years. Um, I know how much calories are in rice, in chicken, in turkey, in steak, in pork loin, in the pasta that I make. Even so much to be like, I know exactly how many calories are in the desserts that I'll get from Dairy Queen, like if we go out or this or that. Um, and as far as nutrition goes, I really just have become like an intuitive eater, kind of just following the natural hunger cues that my body's giving me and the intuition that I have as far as like how much I need in the morning, how much I need in the middle of the day, how much I have left at the end of the day for dinner and maybe a sweet treat. Um, with really the primary focus just being if I get 200 grams of protein in a day, then I'm good. And I pretty much, I'm probably 99% on protein. It really isn't an issue for me. I base my entire day around it nutritionally. So everything kind of works out. And, you know, coincidence that well, the qualifiers that I did for Wadapalooza, for Fittest of the Coast, and then into the open season, which obviously was really good. We just went through all that. Now we're heading towards semis. Is it a coincidence that I happen to be performing the best I've ever performed during the same time period of which I stopped tracking my food? Maybe. It might have something to do with it. There certainly have been days where I've gone over the calories that I would have tracked to before. There's been a lot of days where I've gone under. And it sort of probably balances out to where I'm still probably consuming somewhere between I probably average 4,000 calories a day, but it's not as like every day has to be exactly 4,000, depending on where I'm at in the training week, how hard I've gone, if I'm on a rest day, if I'm doing a really hard piece, like I will eat more or less depending on that. And it's really worked well for me. So that's where we're at nutritionally right now. I will say this as a product of that, you start to see there's an aesthetic versus a performance balance maybe that you're playing with there. Um, if I wanted to, and we've done this before, and I always toy with the idea in my head, I could shred down and look unbelievable. I mean, even to like your normal person right now, if they saw me working out without a shirt on, they'd be like, Jesus Christ, that guy looks good. Um, but like compared to, I don't know, somebody stepping on stage or some of the freak aesthetic athletes in the CrossFit space, I'm certainly not special. I'm just a guy with like abs and some muscles, right? Like pretty commonplace if you're in the CrossFit or just fitness world in general. But if I wanted to, I could look pretty disgustingly like probably on the verge of people claiming I might be on some exogenous stuff. But I don't do that because for me, that would require me to get down back around 185, 190. I'm currently somewhere between 200 and 205. So if I were to just shred 15 pounds of fat and hang out like around 187, 1 to 190 range, I'd probably and maintain the muscle, right? Do it correctly. I would probably look insane. The performance would drop. I would not be deadlifting, squatting, power cleaning, bent like all the weight, all the stuff. I would not be moving the weight like I am now. And we found that even at the current body weight that I sit, body fat percentage that I sit at, which I am going to test after semifinals, just to get a base, um, which is still very lean. Like I'm still look good. This is where I perform the best, and tracking calories and all that plays a role because if I wanted to be super lean, then I'd probably track my calories a little closer. When you track, you're a little bit more aware of how often you're making slightly poor decisions, at least in the context of trying to look super aesthetic. Certainly wouldn't be eating as much ice cream or dessert as I currently do, but I make room for that in my diet right now to have that kind of carb intake. Doesn't always hurt, kind of helps sometimes to be able to push and have gas in the tank when I get into some heavy, you know, uh, engine workouts. Um, and then on the other end of that, like I could go overboard. I could try and push 205 to 210, maybe 215 even, and I still would not look bad as an athlete. But there you start to play with the idea of like, okay, at my height and body fat percentage, what does 210 to 215 feel like when I'm on the rings or when I'm on the bar or when I'm trying to do burpees, right? Would my strength increase? Yeah, it probably would. I'd probably get even stronger. Is it worth it? So you kind of have to find that sweet spot as an athlete. And, I think as of right now, we found the best sweet spot we possibly can. Um, Maybe someday I'll use the off period in the summer to like shred down and get super lean and then take pictures and use those as promos for my fitness and coaching business. But that's just sort of something I've been thinking about. I've just like haven't been tracking. I eat what I want. I'm very disciplined naturally. I'm to a place where I know how to do things. I look good and I perform good right now and I feel great. So that's the main thing. Um, Finally, disc golf, it's still I mean, it's gonna be this shit might get pushed till summer at this point. Uh, 2 weeks ago, it was horrible out. Last week, I had to do stuff. I had to, like, record a podcast and then go do something. Like, I was tied up. I couldn't get away to actually go disc golf. So, uh, I'd love to say that this Friday is gonna be the first round, but now I'm kind of like in a spot where I mentioned it last week. I got a swing set that I have to build myself, maybe with some help, my brothers or somebody come and help me. Um, and I want to start just kind of chipping away at that for an hour or two in the backyard over the next couple weeks. Because it's gonna take multiple days, multiple weeks to do it. And so am I gonna go play disc golf instead of spending 90 minutes to 2 hours like working on building my kid a swing set? How selfish do I really want to be? I don't know. That's where we're at. I will play disc golf eventually. I promise I'm going to play in a tournament or two this summer slash, uh, spring, summer, maybe fall. But that stuff is on the back burner for now. It's where we're at. That is it. That's the TK pod. Um, oh, Pokemon update. I have all 8 badges. I'm to the um oh god, what's it called? I don't even remember what it's called. What's the path? Am I that dumb that I can't remember it? Uh, it's like victory. Vic. I don't even remember what it's called. I should know this. Victory Road. Jesus Christ, it totally escaped my mind. I'm to Victory Road, Evergrande City in Emerald. I have Rayquaza. I've got a team that's like 40 levels 45 to 50. This is so nerdy, no one cares. Um, So I'm to Victory Road. I haven't played or gone up into Victory Road yet at all and play and battled and trained up a little bit. Need to be higher. All the Pokemon need to be like 5-ish levels, 5 to 10-ish levels higher. Having Rayquaza or and teaching it a couple moves at level 70 will be able to help me just run through some of that Elite Four in the champion, but we're pretty much to the end of the main storyline in Emerald. We just got to take care of the last bit there, and then I don't know where I go from there. I get really like I do this a lot. I'll play Pokemon. I'll beat all the gyms. I'll get to the last like the Elite Four, beat them, and then I'll just get bored and like I'll stop playing the game. Like I always think that I'm gonna fill the entire Pokédex. I always think that I'm gonna go and play like the extra storylines. In Emerald, you can like open up the entire like the Kanto or the Johto Pokédex and like catch those Pokemon. Um, this is the nerdiest shit ever. No one cares. That's pretty much it. I will talk to you guys next week, and hopefully I'm still in one piece as we continue to go through this training. See ya. Peace.